up, guys? I'm LQ. This is the LQ review. I'm just going to give a quick book review here. I really don't do many book reviews at all. I did a Stephen King ranking. I've talked about books every now and then, but I don't do a lot. But since the LQ review is where we talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that we love to talk about, including comic books and video games and movies and TV shows, why not include books in it, right? So let's talk about Dooku, Jedi, Lost. I don't know how I feel about it. So here's the thing. It's written in script form. So there's Dooku, Sifo-Dyas, Dooku, Sifo-Dyas, Dooku, Sifo-Dyas. So it's written in script form. But I don't think it would have made a good movie. I really don't. So that's why I'm kind of just kind of torn on it. It's written in script form, but I don't think it's very cinematic. So it's something that it's a book that goes through phases of Dooku's life. You've got him as a younger Padawan, training under Yoda. Yoda has a substantial role in this book. You've got him older, middle age, when he's trying to he goes against the Jedi code to try to reconnect with his family, his sister specifically, his biological sister. He actually, like I said, goes against the Jedi code and tries to reconnect with family. And it does not go well. And then it shows him as an older Jedi, taking on Qui-Gon as his Padawan. Asajj Ventress plays a pretty substantial role in this. A lot of it's told in flashbacks through Dooku kind of telling the story of his past via holograms. So there's a lot covered in this 454 pages. There's a lot covered here. 458 pages. So there's a lot covered here. And I don't think that I spoiled any ending. Yeah, that didn't spoil anything in case you read that. But there's a lot covered here. So Asajj is in this, Yoda's in this, Qui-Gon's in this. There's several different stages of Dooku's life. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't give me a couple things that I wanted. And that might be why I'm disappointed with it. Because I wanted to see him get seduced by Palpatine and turn to the dark side. And while we certainly saw some foundation for that being laid in this book, we never saw the seduction take place. We never saw him turn to the dark side in this book. We just saw the foundation for it being laid. Palpatine shows up once or twice and kind of just starts the seeds of that relationship. Especially later in Dooku's life, he starts the seeds of that relationship, but we don't ever actually see that relationship form. I wanted to see Sifo-Dyas. Sifo-Dyas is a main character in this book. In Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, Sifo-Dyas is referred to several times, but we don't even know anything about him, other than Obi-Wan saying, Master Sifo-Dyas was killed almost 10 years ago. I wanted to see Sifo-Dyas' story as well. This is Dooku's story. Sifo-Dyas is a main character. He is a main character. He probably has the second amount of lines in this book. But we don't see Sifo-Dyas' story. We don't see how how did he start commissioning this clone army on Kamino? What role did he play in that? None of those questions are answered, other than the fact that he's Dooku's best friend, and he's got a lot of stuff to do here, but none of the questions are answered as to how he commissioned the clone army. What role did he play? Was he dark also? We don't know. Nobody goes dark in this. Not Dooku, not Sifo-Dyas, nobody. So this was a story about Dooku's relationship with his biological family. And like I said, and this relationship that he forms that should not exist. That he's forbidden from love. He's forbidden from contact. So this relationship forms that should not exist, especially between him and his sister. And I'm not going to get into any spoilers or anything like that, but it does not go well. And people die. but nothing happens in here that affects the overall Skywalker saga or the Skywalker or the Star Wars story. You know, nothing in here affects the Clone Wars. Nothing in here affects the trade embargo that we see at the beginning of the Phantom Menace. You know, there's nothing happening here that we can. There's nothing happening here that we can connect to the prequels. This is completely set apart. And some people may like that. Some people may really like the idea that this is completely set apart from the prequels as a standalone tale, other than the fact that Asajj is involved. Other than the fact that Ventress is involved, and her stories are set in kind of modern time, while, you know, a lot of this story is told in flashback via hologram to her. So that being said, there's not a lot of action in this, and none of the action has any real consequence because most of the action that we see is set in the past via flashback. So much of this movie is told through Dooku's hologram. So the stakes are lower because we know where all these characters are going to end up, and that anything that could happen to any of these secondary characters doesn't matter either, because we know where all of our main characters ended up. We know where Ventress ends up. We know where Dooku ends up. We know where Yoda ends up. We know where Qui-Gon ends up. We don't know where Sifo-Dyas ends up, but we know he dies. So there's just so much about this that's just kind of unnecessary. It's unnecessary. So was it a good read, at least? Yeah, it was a good read. It was entertaining. I enjoyed it as a completely unconnected secondary Star Wars story. I enjoyed it. I would have rather it been told in a novel form. I would have rather this one been told in a novel form, because I feel like that it would have given us more. Because like I said, I don't feel like a script form would have... I don't think there's enough here for it to be a script. Because I don't think it's very cinematic. I don't think what happens in this is very cinematic. So I would have much rather seen a book, a novel of this story. Because a novel could make it more cinematic with descriptions of these worlds that we visit. Because we do visit new worlds here that we've never been to. So a novel could make it feel more cinematic through its descriptions. The story here is not big enough to be cinematic, therefore it doesn't feel cinematic. So why is it written as a script? I don't know. But overall, like I said, it was an enjoying read. I like Star Wars. I love Star Wars. And you know, I'll take any kind of new Star Wars content. And some of it's good, some of it's bad. And this was middle of the road good. I mean, I don't know. This sounds like a very bad review. It does. It sounds like a really bad review. And in some ways it is a bad review. But I still enjoyed myself. So I don't know. It's kind of one of those things where I don't know. I can look at I can look at a movie and say that's a bad movie, but I like it. And that might be how this is. You know, I don't really like the format that this was presented in, but I still enjoyed it. That's probably the best way to say it. I don't like the format. I don't like some of the decisions being made, but I enjoyed reading it. So guess it's not either good or bad, but take it for what it's worth. Dooku, Jedi Lost was Have you guys read Dooku, Jedi Lost? Let me know in the comments down below if you have. Let me know what you thought about it. And I want to thank you guys for being here at the LQ Review, where we talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff we love to talk about. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.